Uh, but I'm fired up to be here. I love me some Purdy agency, whether it's Summers, Matthews, Gainey's, Kevin, Michelle, like this group y'all have coming into it. Maybe you don't realize, but the context of having been here myself 4 years and kind of supporting Gabby for 4 years before that, the last 8 years, like when I get to an event and I see a Purdy leader, like that's a conversation I always want to have because I walk away feeling empowered and learning something. And so I'm just excited to be here and get to know more people on the Purdy team.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming on. And, a little bit of that background there for people that are like, I don't know what I'm doing. You never did anything remotely close to, I know what you did before, but for those that don't know, what were you doing before you decided to make this full time with Miss Gabby?
Yeah, and so this is kind of where I'll talk to real quick. I know this is a sales call, but I'm going to talk to all the builders real quick. Um, I had the worst life insurance resume probably of anybody that's here at Symmetry. I actually went to school. I paid a university for 5.5 years, took me a little bit longer, to lick rocks. I got a geology degree, and then I worked a decade on oil and gas rigs in the Gulf of Mexico. And so, if Kevin was shuffling through resumes, I don't think mine would have been one that he would have picked up and been like, let me make sure I call this guy, right? And so you just never really know who you're talking to. You can't see obsession, you can't see passion on a resume. And so, yeah, Trevor, I did not have any context for what this business would be or what that would be. I looked and I saw the business model, especially when it shifted in 2020, and I saw that I spent a decade of my life giving everything to everybody else. And Gabby was over here building our dreams together. So once I saw that, I came on board in 2021.
Love it. And so, right, we have a lot of new agents on here today that are just getting going, right? They're looking at leaderboards, they're hearing our jargon, right? Half of this business is learning our lingo and learning, what is an SME, what is a debt-free life. So for you and your guys' agency, how do you bring this up to your new agents as they're coming on? Let's talk to them right now.
Yeah, and so that was actually another thing. One of the things I was happiest about leaving the oil and gas industry. I was like, now I can get away from all these acronyms that nobody knows. And then I stepped into insurance, and I'm like, oh, there's just as many here. But I like to zoom out especially when I'm talking to new agents. A lot of you come here, and the opportunity you see, which is when you look at most insurance companies, there's one kind of way to come in and make good money with that business model, right? You go to some companies and it's, hey, you can go out and make good money yourself, helping families. You go to some companies and it's like, hey, you're only going to make your money if you're building a big team. Well, the incredible thing about Symmetry is we have both of those, right? If we look at kind of going out and helping families, like look up Forbes. We're the ninth highest paying company in the United States right now, where you can go out and learn a six-figure skill set in your first 90 days. And we also have an opportunity for generational passive income from building an agency. And so we have now money with producing, we have future passive money with building a team. But as we have these advanced markets and resets, y'all, there is no other. I challenge you to find me a company where just in your appointments or people you talk to, you can just ask a couple questions every time and make six figures. Like, tell me somewhere else you can go by just asking a couple of questions to 10, 15 people a week. And in return for asking those two questions to everybody, you can earn six figures. Like our reset program allows new agents to earn passive income from day one. And I'll give you an example of this. I've had new agents where the first time they ever bought an A lead, they're dropping $30 on an A lead. 30 seconds into the conversation, the guy's like, I got $1 million policy. No thanks, bud. He asked one more question for a reset. I'm able to help that client. And 2 days later, that agent got a $400 deposit on his first A lead that he never was going to get an appointment with. I have another brand new agent. She works here part time. She submitted two applications for 1,700 bucks herself. She's also made 30 grand by asking a couple questions to her friends and family and resetting them. And so, Trevor, when I talk about doing resets, it's just about getting really good at asking a couple questions along of the process of what you're already asking to identify if that person has additional needs. And so when we talk about those additional needs, I tend to focus on like in regards to helping people get out of debt, helping people grow their money, and helping people have a safe and secure retirement. Everybody you talk to, 80% of Americans are in debt. The average American has about $23,000 in debt outside of their mortgage. So that means 80 to 90% of everybody you're talking to is looking to get out of debt. What if you ask them the question of, hey, if you were to be able to pay down your debts and get out of debt, would that make your life in retirement more comfortable? I've heard people ask that a ton of times. I've never heard anybody say no. Right? Or when was the last time someone sat down with you and looked at your retirement plan of what income was going to look like for you when you retired? Would you rather know that now, or would you rather wait till the day before you retire? Right. And so with that, Trevor, that's kind of how I set it up of like, we're talking about you being able to make an incredible passive income from day one to give you essentially more ammo to build your business, whether that's leads to go out and have more families, or whether that's your recruiting budget, or maybe you got kids at home and that allows you to get to a remote office. Like this is essentially that way for you to build your war chest to help get your business off the ground.
Yep. I'm not going to let you skip over what you said earlier. I want everybody to really think about this right here. Okay. How many people here would like $30,000 in deposits before Christmas? Anyone? Can we get a me in chat here? If we'd like 30 grand in deposits before Christmas? Because I would. He didn't say this was a seasoned agent. He didn't say this was his best agent. He didn't say this was Dylan Crane writing insane amounts of money. He said this was a part-time agent that reached out to her friends and family and said, hey, I can help you get out of debt. I can help you retire faster and do it tax-free. And they've now made $30,000. That's not like a made-up number. That's like an actual number, ladies and gentlemen. So that's why I wanted Fred on today, because the ability to harness this within your agencies and going to your team subject matter expert is a game changer. Okay. So we're going to talk about this. They showed it at conference, but it's such a big number for me. I really want everybody to understand there is $1.78 trillion in student loan debt in this country. There is $1.66 trillion in credit card debt. There is $1.2 trillion in auto loans, and there is $12.8 trillion in mortgage debt. Every person we basically talk to is a client. Every human you come in contact with is a client. And you, just as Fred said, we're going to dive into what a little more on these questions, but really learning to ask those simple questions. Okay. Now, how many people want to be able to also use some scarcity and really uplift the SME so the person they're talking to feels like, oh, it's a privilege I get in front of them? Anybody? Can I get a one in chat if you want to learn how to do that a little bit better? Right? Because if you're, the reason they're going to show up is they feel like, man, Fred's the man, right? Like I got to get in front of Fred, which by the way, Fred is the man. So, right. Like as you're talking to him, they have to realize there's only so much time in that schedule. Okay. So we have a couple things with questions and what we want to do there. So you just heard it, right? So, as you're going through, right, one of the main questions I like to ask is, Fred, how confident are you that your current plan is helping you get closer to retirement and having that protected for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if there was a way for us to show you how to give less money to the credit card company and your mortgage lender, would you want to be able to get some of that interest back? Or are you good kind of giving them all your interest and all your money? Like, because that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. Like, think about how lending companies mortgage companies, banks, how do they make money? Right? We give them money or we take a loan, they make money off of us, off of our money. Right? What if we could show them a way where they could get that money back and they could take control of that? Right? That's the opportunity of what we have to do, Trevor. And so yeah, it's something I'm super passionate about because um, when we think about those people that are filling out that mortgage protection lead, and that'll be the majority of people that we do for resets, also the people in your life, who are we talking to? Who are we protecting? Like this company has set out to save middle America. And so you're talking to people where, the average kind of middle American person, 14% of them outside of their 401k in America even know like what a stock is or how to invest in it. And so 9 out of the 10 people you're talking to, they don't know any other options besides giving all their money to banks, taking out credit cards, taking out loans that are preying on them. And you essentially, in all the SMEs that you work with, if you think about this, we have thousands of agents going out and helping families with mortgage protection and life insurance. We have around 100 that are going out and helping people with retirement and getting out of debt. And so no matter what SME you're talking to, like this person is incredible. Like they've learned this skill set to be able to provide this additional value to those people you refer to them. And so that's more of how I set that up with like, I don't want an agent to be like, hey, Fred's going to save you $1 million because maybe that's an expectation I can't live up to. But it's like, hey, I don't know exactly what he does, but I know he's been able to save a ton of my clients a lot of time, interest, help them secure their retirement. And so I know each and every time I kind of have somebody have a conversation with them, they come away and they thank me afterwards. And so he is super busy. Like I said, there's only a few people that do this. And Trevor, he actually heads up the department. No matter who your SME is, they actually head up that department. And so I know it's around 12 o'clock right now, Central. He actually does have a spot, and this is kind of rare, but he does have a spot at this time tomorrow, or he has a 2 p.m. Which one of those will work better for you to kind of just have that initial conversation with him to see if there's something he can do to help you out?
Does everybody see what Fred did there by just asking one question? Like it's all about being a professional problem solver there. Okay. And what he did, right? You heard him use the word rare, right? Like one of the ways I like to pivot it is if I'm teeing up someone else, I'll be like, who do I see on my screen? Hey, Serena, we're talking here and I see Serena and I'm like, hey, Serena. So here's the deal. Fred only takes on a few new strategy sessions a week. I don't even know if this is going to make sense for you yet, but if and I can't guarantee it, but if I could get you on his schedule for a quick 5 to 7 minute introductory call, would you want me to do that for you and your family? Do you see how asking that one question, just one, is like, oh, why is Fred's schedule so busy? Why is my SM, why is he, oh, like you want them to understand the role of this is they need to feel lucky, privileged, and empowered that you were the middleman to put them in front of the person that's going to take care of that for them. Right. Yeah. I love to say that. I can't guarantee it, but if I could get you on his schedule, it's there. Right. The other one I like to use on that pivot, Fred, let me know if you guys use this one. I'll also be like, hey, Fred's got a long wait list here. He usually only takes on 1 or 2 new families a week. And I don't know if he's got there yet. Would you be open to me asking him a favor to see if I can get you on his schedule this week?
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think it's something where, a big part, and I have a few slides. If we get to there, I can share those. Yeah. It's more of, depending on how that conversation's going, like if I am in an appointment for mortgage protection and life insurance, I think one of the biggest things for new agents of why they're not doing resets is they don't know what questions to ask or when to ask them, right? They feel like I'm talking about apples and then I'm going to ask the client a question about oranges and they're going to be like, why are you talking about oranges when we got on the call to talk about apples? right? Does anybody feel like that? Like you can just drop a one in the chat of like, I don't know how to ask the questions, or I feel like if I do ask the questions, it's going to seem awkward or out of place, and so I just haven't made it a part of my process, right? And so there's a part of that is really our responsibility as subject matter experts to equip you with that verbiage. And there's a part of that where 90% of the bad things or awkward things in your life are in your mind and they don't actually happen. Right. And so it's just learning those tools, learning those questions that are comfortable for you to ask, thank the client for sharing, continue with what you're doing. And at the end, whether it's a sale or a no sale, pivoting to that reset.
Yep. That's so great. And Joe, I wanted to, you teed this up perfect for me. Because I did this when I started. I was like, I was going to Ruth Singo and resetting to her, and I was like, Ruth, I need to know, I got to know this, right? I'm a pioneer. Like, I feel like I got to know this. How can I do this if I don't know anything about it? I don't fully understand the product. You don't need to, but want to know a way to get real good at it real fast. Anybody want the secret to, like, for real, to like I can shorten your learning curve here dramatically, really rapidly, to go do it. Yep. Right. Katie, as you said it, right? Just go set a bunch of them and go listen and sit in. And then guess what? You're going to learn. You're like, oh, that's what that means. That's what that does. And that's what I did.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're not going to learn to swim by reading books. And so just like when you started here with mortgage protection life insurance, at a certain point you got to dive in and you're going to figure it out. Like if I look on my screen of people I see, if that was a mentality we had of like we need to know all the products before we even go out and sell like mortgage protection, I would say probably Tom Deutsch is the only person I would say that I'm comfortable that he probably knows all the products, right? Because like if you think about it, even on the mortgage protection side, we have dozens of carriers with dozens of products. It's like at the end of the day, you just need to know the right questions, and that's what we get paid for, is by asking the right questions, listening to their situation, and then helping them build that bridge of value from where they're at to where they want to be. And we do that by in mortgage protection, asking those questions, and then by resets by referring them over to that subject matter expert.
Yeah. Hey, I got you set up so you can share. You want to share those slides?
Yeah, let me do this. I'm going to go through a couple of these quick because I feel like I know y'all got some great SMEs with your access to, but I just want to kind of set this up, and then feel free if you want to take screenshots, great. I will also drop all these slides in the chat when I get done, because the number one, like the agents that consistently reset to me are the ones that print these off, have them in front of their computer, so it's top of mind, or they copy the verbiage right into their script. So it's got to be in front of you. If it's not in front of you, you're not going to do it. And so let me share my screen here. And then with that, I just first want to start about the process, because that's one thing as well that sometimes people get concerned about is, I don't know what the process is. And that's okay, right? I'm about to teach you here in 15 seconds. On your appointment, on a dial, you're just asking a couple of extra questions to identify if there are those additional needs for that client. And then you're going to keep doing what you're doing, right? You're going to keep doing that mortgage protection life insurance appointment. At the end, whether it's a sale or a no sale, you're asking that verbiage for a reset. From there, once you have a time, you book that on the SME's calendar, you fill out and submit the reset form in HQ. Now, I'm assuming this is a very simple process. If you don't know how to submit a reset in HQ, I would text your SME. Probably more than likely, they have about a 90-second video that walks you through that. Or within 5 minutes, they can get you one. And then the last step, and this is for me, I think, most SMEs do it the same, some do it a little different. That first call with the client is a phone call for me. So it's a 10-15-minute phone call. And what I do is I actually have you as the resetting agent call the client. You have a relationship, you have trust, they know your phone number, and then simply say, hey, I got Fred here, give me a brief introduction. And then I take them through that first call, right, to flush out any other information I need, see if this is a fit for what they're looking for, get caught up to speed on their situation. If it is, from there, I'm booking an appointment to meet with them over Zoom. So very easy process. The biggest thing for you to learn is What are those questions, right? And so with this, part of kind of mortgage protection life insurance is we know if you're sitting on 10 plus appointments a week, you're going to be successful. We also know that if you're making this a part of your process every single time by asking those reset questions, you're going to be sending over at least 2 to 3 good resets to your SME every single week, right? So when you're doing that, those 2 to 3 resets every week, you're going to look up in 6 to 12 months and you're going to have 30, 50, 70 grand sitting in your bank account because you were consistent asking those questions. Okay. And so last two here, then I'm going to get you guys some verbiage is when to do a reset, right? I want you to know there's different times and different ways that you can do a reset. Short answer, you can do a reset anytime. But as far as kind of the context for this, the 4 main ones we'll talk about would be in your appointment, right? Planting that seed, pivoting at the end, on the phone, right? I got some verbiage I'm going to give you all, which is a game changer of being able to get a reset off a dial, right? So I'll talk about that. Also, warm market, right? You have people in your life that are, are in debt or looking to retire, that warm market. So you can do that by having conversations. You can also do that casually on social media. And then the last one would be if you've been here for a little bit, you have a book of business. Well, maybe when you helped them with mortgage protection, you didn't tell them about resets. So that's a great opportunity for you to go back, review their policy, and let them know, hey, we have this other division that's actually designed for this. And so I just want to be a resource for you and the people in your life for this aspect as well. And then, if you're helping clients now doing a policy review a week later, you can also do it at that time. Okay. And so we talked about this before. I think one other thing that newer agents potentially don't do resets is they think, oh, it's very niche of who needs a reset, or it's very niche of like maybe 1 out of 500 people I talk to actually need a reset. Nope, pretty much everybody, right? Pretty much everybody is either looking to get out of debt, they've recently changed jobs, they have a child, they're a business owner, they're in a profession with high litigation potential, doctors, lawyers, right? Or like traveling nurses. We have over 1 million traveling nurses in the country, right? How many of them would love to have their retirement accounts in the same place, have them protected and growing for them for retirement? Any lead you get, if it says age 50 or older, that person is either looking to protect the retirement they've grown or grow a retirement, right? So you can start looking at your leads and knowing those questions to ask. And then I'm from Texas, so anybody that hates taxes or doesn't want to pay more than they have to, great reset opportunity. And then last one, right? I think especially the DFL IBC, there is nobody that this is better suited to help than you as a Symmetry agent. You're a business owner, you're getting your business off the ground. Me and my wife, we have 3 IBCs, we have multiple IULs. My old retirement is in an annuity. These are not only products that I'm like, hey, I want to teach you to help your clients. These are also products that I think are incredible financial tools. And so I use them. All right. And so let's get into it with the appointment. Now, this is kind of where you want to take a screenshot, or I'll drop this in the chat for you to access later. And so in an appointment, what we're going to do is just ask a couple simple questions in the same line of questioning that we're already doing, right? If you're doing mortgage protection, what are you doing? You're probably asking about their mortgage, right? Hey, okay, I'm seeing 279,000. All right, what's the monthly payment y'all are making on that? Okay, y'all are doing about 2,300 a month. Are y'all sending anything extra on that mortgage? Is it important to y'all? Are you looking to pay that down faster? They say yes. Okay, so it sounds like getting out of debt's important to you. Okay, all right, we'll come back to that. I appreciate you sharing that with me. Right? How natural was that? I'm already asking them about the mortgage. I'm just asking one more question. Right? And then part of your process in your appointment is figuring out what all do they have available if something were to happen to that person. Right? And so this is how that would go. It'd be like, hey, Stephen, I know you're not planning to use this for that. This is not the purpose of it, but what other resources, God forbid something were to happen to you, could possibly be used to pay off the mortgage? Do you have any money like a 401k, IRA, money in a suitcase, anything like that God forbid could be used? Right. And so you can see I'm saying, I know you don't want to use it for mortgage protection. So I'm not trying to, kneecap my mortgage protection sale, but I'm also looking to just ask a natural question of like, gosh, what would your wife use, if something were to happen to you? So I'm able to identify that. And then, hey, is that 401k, is that something you're contributing to currently? Is that laying around from an old job? Or, hey, I know the markets have been all over the place. Have you seen, potential losses in yours? Has that been fluctuating at all? Right. I'm just asking casual questions in that. They answer and I say, hey, remind me when we're done. I have an idea or two that may be able to help you protect that so you'll never lose a penny moving forward. So remind me, okay, when we're done. Remind me when we're done is such a powerful thing that plants in their brain. We had an agent, he did the kind of remind me when we're done, runs his mortgage protection appointment, he forgets. He gets off the phone. He was talking to a lady named Betty. She calls him 10 minutes later, and he's a younger agent. She's like, hey, whippersnapper, you told me you were going to remind me when we were done about protecting my retirement. You never did. Right. She called him back in order to ask for the reset. And so powerful language here. Just remind me when we're done. And so what we've done in questions we're already asking is we've just planted that seed. We continue on with our mortgage protection life insurance appointment because that's why they came to us in the first place. Now, at the end, this is where, whether it's a sale or a no sale, we remind them, right? Hey, remember earlier when you had mentioned getting out of debt's important to you? And I know you didn't originally ask about this, but I know you mentioned it's important to you. We actually have an entire division designed to educate our clients on how to do that faster and more efficiently than they probably could on their own. We have subject matter experts. I have a guy, Trevor, he heads up that department, who can really explain this. You're going to enjoy speaking with him. Their main focus, what they're going to do is just educate you on possible solutions. And whatever you do with that information is completely up to you. I do have access to his calendar. He's generally very busy. So let me see what he does have. Actually, he does have around tomorrow at this time, which is pretty rare. Does that time work for you? This time of day typically good, just to kind of have that initial call, see if what that looks like for you. Boom, set that reset. All right, I got you down tomorrow for 4. What'll actually happen is I'm actually going to give you a call back, and then I'm going to patch in Fred. So just look for my number tomorrow around 4. We'll hop on. Like I said, that first one's just 10, 15 minutes. He's going to get caught up on your situation and see if there's anything they have that could really help you with what you're looking to do. Right? Very conversational. I'm like, we have the answers. We're looking to help them. Okay. All right. Here's my favorite one. You're dialing. We know if you're setting 10, 12, 15 appointments a week, you're probably talking to 35, 45 people a week. So there's a big portion of people you're contacting and talking to that you don't set an appointment with. All right. So you get on with this contact, they give you that first objection. That's their knee-jerk objection, right? And so the caution here is they don't give you one knee-jerk objection and you pivot to a reset, right? You're a professional, do your due diligence, get in the ring, do your objection handling. But once you've done that and you're getting to the point where you're like, oh, this is not going to be an appointment. I'm about to crinkle up this paper and throw it in the trash. Well, now when you get to that point, right? Anybody ever feel that every week when they're talking to someone, they're like, hey, I got a hold of them, but I'm not going to get this appointment. Well, now with this slide and the next one, you just got one more bullet in your chamber to provide value to that family. Hey, Joe, I'm so glad to hear that you have that $17 million policy for $10 a month. Last question, and I'll let you go. And I know you didn't originally ask about this, but if your mortgage and other debts were completely paid off, would your retirement be more comfortable? Spoiler alert, the answer to that is yes. Okay. Or last question, I'll let you go. And I know you didn't originally ask about this, but has anyone ever talked to you about insuring your retirement? Just so you have the best retirement possible. We talk about car insurance, life insurance, health insurance, but has anyone ever talked to you about insuring your retirement? The answer to that is always no as well. No, they haven't. Okay, well, this actually may be more helpful for you. We have a division that's designed to educate our clients on those type of solutions, if that's important to you, right? Mini takeaway. There's subject matter experts who can kind of really explain this with the main focus, like I said, just being on education. Usually this takes about 10 to 15 minutes on that initial call, just to see if they could even help or if it's a fit for you. And then whatever you do with that information is completely up to you. Right now, you just went from quickly up that piece of paper to potentially having a reset. Right. I think I don't track it as often anymore, but it was like 20 to 30% of the money that's going into my agents' pockets through resets is from resets off of dials. Whereas 2 years ago, this just all would have been in the trash.
And Fred, on that, we were talking about it on another call earlier this morning. You know the data. What is the average commission deposited into a new agent's account here for just asking these questions?
So for symmetry, according to the home office, for every reset you submit into HQ, on average, that's $450 into your bank account. Now, are all resets going to be $450? No. Some won't be an application. Some will be smaller. Some will be much bigger. Right? But it's one of those things where you're going to miss 100% of the shots you don't take. All right. So a couple more slides. I want to get you guys this verbiage because I feel like once you have the verbiage, it makes it a lot easier. One of my agents actually came up with this. Anybody dial bonus leads every week? You ever hear, you're the 17th person I've talked to about this? Anybody ever hear that? Okay. All right. So gone through 17th person, don't need this, take me off your list. All right, no problem. I'll get that done. My job, like I said, basically is just to check the work of previous agents. Last question, and I'll let you go. Out of all the previous agents you spoke with, did any of them offer you the free education we have here in the state of Texas on how you can pay off your mortgage and any other debts you may have at half the time without spending any money than you're already spending? Or did any of the other agents talk to you about that free education on how you can ensure your retirement so you have the best retirement possible? Right? One more bullet in your chamber. All right. And I see a few producers that have helped hundreds, if not thousands of clients on this call. Or maybe you've helped 30 or 40 or 5 or 6. But maybe you didn't tell them about resets or what we have available. You can get a hold of them right now and say, hey, since we talked last month, since we talked 8 years ago, I just wanted to let you know that part of kind of with what I do, we actually have a wealth management division that this helps our clients not only protect their existing retirement from market loss, but also they have ways to help our clients get out of debt way faster than they normally could on their own. My partner, Trevor, I go to him all the time. He's very knowledgeable on this and just wanted you to know as well, like just like me, he has a heart to serve people. He's really awesome on kind of these solutions, explaining them, education. That first call, if this is important to you, to see if he could possibly help you, is just about 10 minutes. I actually have access to his calendar. He's very busy, but what day this week would work best for you if this is important to you? I'll see if he has any availability for you. Right? These are people you've already provided value to, that you're going back and saying, hey, I want you to know that there's this other value we have. Okay. And then last one, if say you went through, you made the sale, but maybe the questions, you didn't ask the questions or it didn't come up as far as resets, or maybe you asked the questions and you didn't feel like a reset was there, that's okay, right? When you're calling them, hey, looks like we got your Americo IUL in place for 200,000. You go through, explain what they got. And so just want you to know, Megan, mortgage protection is one half of what we do. The other half really focuses on ensuring great and exciting retirements for people, and also helping people get out of debt. So I just want to be a resource for you and other people in your circle for future needs. I know you probably do not need this, but at least if I could be a resource for you. What happens when you tell people that they probably don't need this? They want it, right? The same verbiage there. And then last one here. I know sometimes social media, people will share on there. This is something where you can be very general. And the goal with social media is not to get into paid up editions of participating whole lives in year 4, right? The goal is to pique interest, to have someone reach out to have that initial call. And so if I look at these, These are some actual social media posts from people that have reset to me. On the right, this was actually just shared from Quility. She said, "Hey, for any of my friends that are 50 plus planning for retirement, um, I have a team that can help you." Well, one of her college roommates didn't need help with retirement, but she's like, "You got people that can help with those sort of things?" Then I wrote a $7,000 IBC on her friend, right? Just for a Facebook post. Vanessa, she's posted this once every about 3 months. Not a joke. If I could help you eliminate all your debt in 9 years or less, would you want to learn how? Done 7 DFL applications on her friends and family because she's just sharing a post like that. And then you talked about Christmas presents, Trevor. David Gardner on our team, he made this bottom left post in May. Had a bowling buddy. She recently changed jobs. Talked to her initially, kind of fell off. I circled back with her in November, was able to protect her retirement. Christmas Eve, David Gardner gets a deposit for $17,642. Talk about a stocking stuffer just for making a Facebook post.
So good, Fred. So good. That's, yeah, it's there. I mean, literally, guys, yesterday I wrote an $1,500 a month DFL policy that was instant approval for the client. And right, so he's putting in 18 grand a year. He's a business owner. Fred talked about it, one of the people. And it was somebody, Daniel, reset to me that he had asked the question in one of his appointments, and the guy ended up being a real estate developer. Hey, I need to do this. We went into the concept, right? Like those kind of things are there. And I think a really important question to ask is, I want to put in here, how many people know what the penalty is? Write in chat if you know what the penalty is if your money's locked up in a 401k before you're 60, right? Up to 59 and a half, right? Like, what's the percentage if you want to go get access to your money? Okay, right? Like, guys, it is if you want to touch your money in a 401k before you are 59 and a half, you're going to be massively penalized, right? My next favorite question to ask, I want to see if you ask this one, Fred. And you talked about, hey, I like how you said it. Hey, I live in Texas. I don't like paying taxes. I love asking the question, have you ever heard the saying, Fred, wealthy people don't pay taxes?
They don't, do they? I heard Bezos doesn't pay any.
Well, we have a division now that's allowing regular folks like me and you to have access to those same policies that the Roethlisbergers use, that the Gettys use, that the Fords use, right? So those simple questions are there, right? So, yep, it's 30% M and a 10% penalty for tax. You were correct, right? For your money. The next question, right? Do we all agree? Put a 1 in chat if you think we're going to pay more money in taxes in 10, 20, 30 years from now. Anyone think we're not? If you do, I want to know what you're taking because it's probably pretty good. So, on that side of it, it's there, but we agree, right? So now you're using today's deflated dollar to pay tomorrow's taxes, right? These shelters are going to do that. And again, you don't have to have all this expertise. How do you learn that? Is you do those questions Fred just showed, right? How many people think just having those simple questions to ask are going to help you get more resets? Everybody think that?
What you mentioned this earlier, Trevor, of like, someone put in the chat, like, I want to learn more about these products and this and that. The best way for you to learn more about this process and the products is to submit a bunch of resets, right? When I have an agent, they're on that initial call. I'm talking with that client for 10 to 15 minutes, asking them different questions, talking to them about the solution that we're going to take a look at in the appointment. And so I see it every single time. The quality of the reset, the quality of the questions from that first to second reset is completely night and day from once they've done 10 to 15 of them. Because that's the fastest way to learn, is to actually submit those resets and be on that initial call to learn from your subject matter expert.
Absolutely. That's I think that's so important there of, how do they do that? Because whoever's team you're on in your hierarchy, you'll have your SMEs listed. So if you're here, you don't know who they are, go to your upline, they'll let you know who they are. Every agency has them, they have access to them. I want you to brag a little bit here because I've seen the national leaderboards this year. Okay. What's the biggest single deposit you've gotten this year from a reset that was, whether it turned into an annuity, right, an IUL, whatever it was? What's just one of the biggest deposits you've gotten this year? Single one.
So single wide, I've gotten I'm trying to remember the exact number, but I've got multiple deposits this year that were bigger than any month of deposits that me and Gabby had ever had building this business in the last 8 years. And I've had agents that have gotten deposits that were about 6 months of their income at their old job.
Right. From one thing, right? Like you start talking about getting into annuities, the end of last year, he's not even really here anymore. We had a young man that was a line cook with Tyler in a restaurant, called a G lead, okay, ended up resetting him, okay. He got himself, guy had a large annuity. He got a $24,000 commission for helping that man insure his retirement. That was his cut, right? Like you hear those numbers, I want to talk about them because they're real. It's why we're on the Forbes list, because those deposits are real there. From learning how to just ask questions, and also not being scared to do it. So as you're going out, right, Fred, and you're saying, hey, what, like, on that, I'm going to ask a different way. How is learning how to ask those questions going to change what they can do here, right? You talked about the average reset, they get $450. What if they were just getting 2 a month, right? Like, I mean, that's $900 you can put into recruiting and you don't have to do any of the work.
Yeah. It's something where, right now, like when you start looking, and if you're new, like you're figuring out this opportunity, there's a lot being thrown at you. But to give you kind of a bigger picture, and this is kind of why me and Gabby, why I started becoming an SME, was at the end of 2023, advanced market products and solutions were about 31% of Symmetry Financial, right? And last year it was 38%. And so right now in Symmetry this year, there's going to be millions of dollars that already have gone into agents' pockets for asking resets. And so I say that in the vein of, like, if you're here at Symmetry and you're not doing resets, it's essentially like you're operating McDonald's, but you don't sell Big Macs or chicken nuggets. Like, you can still operate a McDonald's and make money without selling Big Macs and McNuggets. But wouldn't you rather make 30, 40, 50% more by taking advantage of every part of what the business has to offer? I said Big Macs, not Big Macs.
He said Big Macs.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're thinking about, Katie. So, but yeah, so that's, guys, and if, that's something that interests you down the road, talk to your upline, right? Like, you don't have to become the subject matter expert today, right? Go ask anyone who's on this call, Tom Deutsch, go ask, I don't know if Scott's here today, right? They get a majority of their clients still through mortgage protection leads, right? Like that's where they're coming from.
The number one thing that I think, Trevor, if you think about this, of like, we have such a good opportunity with mortgage protection going out and helping families, where you can come in here and learn it in 90 days to 6 months. You can learn a 6-figure skill set that is bought and paid for. Once you have that skill set, it's not going anywhere. And so I do see sometimes agents come in and maybe they sold a few policies and they're like, hey, I want to do advanced markets. And the equivalence I give them would be if you got hired at Google to be a sales associate for smaller accounts, and then 2 weeks later you went to your boss and said, "Hey, I want to be the VP of sales for the Western Hemisphere." It's like you have an opportunity here at Symmetry as part of your career progression to learn a six-figure skill set helping people with mortgage protection and life insurance, and then knowing if this is something that interests you, a way to go out and help people with advanced markets in the future, right? Or if it doesn't interest you, just like my wife, she wants no part of doing DFLs. She does the recess and then she goes, "You're my employee, go out and help the client, and then I'll just look forward to the deposits," right? But it's something where so many times you're just asking a couple of additional questions and you're getting additional APV in return that would have otherwise not been there. And like, how special is that? I go back to that of where else can you go ask a couple questions to a few people every week and earn six figures? It's just not heard of.
And while we're talking about that setup, it's just something that's come up a lot. And I want to hear how you do this. And I'm going to bring up something on this. So I say all the time, I will call someone at any time. If I have someone on the phone and I feel like if I can get another expert on the phone with me, a senior field underwriter, a subject matter expert on the phone to help me with that, I am not ashamed. Like I will call anyone at any time. And right, like it's there. So for the people that are on here that are thinking, well, I don't want to do that. Like they don't understand that it's the actual social proof of it. Like, how do you help them overcome that part of it?
The overcoming of like bringing in someone else for their client instead of themselves.
Yeah.
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's something where, you know, if we think about it in a different sense, like say you were an accountant, you have a client comes into your office, you're helping them with their taxes, and they start having a heart attack. Would you try to help them yourself, or would you call a doctor or call an ambulance? Right? They have a need that you don't have the skill set to help them with at this point. And so, in order to do the best thing by that client, you're going to bring in someone that has the skill set for that. Same thing if mortgage protection, if you think about yourself as like a general doctor helping people, bringing in your SME would be the cardiologist or the joint specialist or whatever that is. We're specialists with those specific needs they have to be able to come in and help them. And it's something where it's not a, hey, I'm here, SME's here, I recommend this, they recommend that. This is something where you two are a partnership. When I talk to my agents, the very first thing, my first question is, all right, awesome. Was this a mortgage protection lead? Did y'all run an appointment? Where are you at in that process? Because anything that I'm doing or talking to this client, I want the context of what your relationship is and what you're helping them with. Because 95% of the time, if not more, the primary need for this person that protected that, put in that mortgage protection life insurance is first and foremost that mortgage protection and life insurance, right? Like most, if not everybody we talk to, that's the most urgent need is to get that filled, right? And then we're looking at those secondary things of, hey, not only, God forbid, if something were to happen to you, that's taken care of, but hey, what about these next 20 to 30 years of getting out of debt before you get to retirement? Or what about, hey, when you do get to retirement, are you going to have enough? Are you worried about 2008 happening tomorrow and you lose everything you fought for the last 30 years, right? We're able to kind of come in aligned with you to help them in more ways.
Yeah. So they were, and I hope this kind of answers, there was some questions in chat about like, well, if you can't explain it to me, right? And I think Fred gives a great explanation that I use there, right? And the way to use it is the doctor explanation works well, right? You have to like go to them and be like, look, I'm your primary care physician, but if you need your knee replaced, you don't want me to do that surgery. Like it's not going to go well. I'm not trained in that. I haven't gone to the extra schooling to be there. But know what's awesome about what I do? You're not calling a call center. I have access to a team where you get to talk to us directly. Okay. So again, creating that side of it on there. right? And you gotta like you got to get to what their situation is. So if someone said like what Emily said, right? Like, well, if you can't explain it to me, here's how it is. I would ask them, what do you do for work? Right. And then go down that rabbit hole with them. Okay. Well, depending upon what they say, right? Like there's different times. Fred talked about it with, he went, listen, Fred and I have very similar but different backgrounds, right? I'm a landscape architect and a fluid engineer by trade, guys. Like that's what I went and learned to do my old business. Like Fred went and got a geology degree, right? But that doesn't mean, right? Like that's who you want to call. So that's where I was bringing up earlier about the scarcity,
Yeah,
right?
and I think about like there's actually probably a better example of this because like as I was sharing that verbiage, how many times did I say there's this other department, right? There's this other department. Somebody do this after the call. Call F&G, click on the commissions button. So call the commissions department at F&G, and then as soon as they get on, ask them questions for a risk assessment.
Love it. That's a great
Right? They're going to
yep.
say, "Oh, hey, I'm so sorry, Trevor. This is actually, let me get you over to that department so they can help you." That's the same. Like, it feels different because we're all on this Zoom together and kind of we work together, but it's the same thing, right? This is just the advanced markets or advanced financial solutions department, right? And so if I got someone that has a need over there, like I'm vice versa, right? If someone comes to me and they're like, "Hey, how do I get best cover with mortgage protection?" I'm like, I'll help you. Here's my wife's number. Like I'm not gonna go down that road because could I potentially help them or explain it? Yeah, but I'm almost doing them a disservice by just not getting them in front of that best person. And so, a certain aspect of that, Trevor, like as you do more and more of these, you're gonna know enough to be dangerous. But what I've found is you don't want to give the client too much to where you get in the weeds.
Yep.
Because you go one depth too far, kind of explaining debt-free life, and then all of a sudden, they're asking this super detailed question, and you're like, wait, I don't know, right? Whereas if you had said, hey, thanks for calling the mortgage protection appointment. Oh, you're looking to get out of debt? All right, let me connect you with them, right? And nobody's going to get mad that you're getting them to the very right person to be able to help them with their need.
Yep. And it's for me, the way I ask that too is like, I'm not the expert on how to make your dollars do more than one job, but I have somebody that is. Would it help you if I could have your dollars doing more than one job? Well, what's that mean, Trevor? That means I can have your debt getting paid off. I can help you retire faster, and I can help you mitigate taxes. Yeah, well, I'll repost the link again for you. I have it, so I'll repost it's just a shared drive, but I'll put it back in there. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you, buddy. I thank you for coming on. It's awesome. And the final question I will leave you with, right? How cool is it that while we still have the fully underwritten options for people that can't instantly get approved, how cool is it that we have a product that you can actually make today money with this now?
Yeah, that was actually, it's something where we're still you do the reset and all right, you're thinking about that as future money or cherry on top money, but really we have whether it's IBC or with Quantum now on the IUL side, your SME is able to not only help them with these incredible products, but they're able to get those in place so the client's covered and then help you kind of in a short term with growing your business as well. And so it's something where I'm so thankful for our founders and the advanced markets team of all the work they've done in the last 3, 4, 5 years, knowing we were going to get to this point. So when we got to this point, those products are in place. And so y'all are truly at a special company that is always putting you first. And part of like the millions and millions of dollars they put into product development into this advanced markets department was to help you as a mortgage protection life insurance agent be more profitable and stick it out here until you figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So I appreciate you, and I'll see you soon, buddy.
All right. Sounds good. Y'all have a great rest of the week.
Thanks.